All right, today I'm going to be installing a 034 Motorsports short throw shifter kit. This one that's in here, you watched an earlier video of mine. We actually put some transmission mounts in here, which actually changed the geometry, moved the shifter back a little bit, but it's still got a lot of slop in it, especially going into like fifth. So to start with, you just spin the shifter knob off of there, and then we got to get the boot off, and that's going to come straight up. But to do that, there's two screws on the side, so I think I have to pull these panels off, but pull those off and get the boot off here. All right, so these panels, you can kind of just pull them down out of the way a little bit, and then on the side under there is this 8mm right there. So we unscrew that, then we'll go ahead to the other side and see that it's got a little thing that sits behind there. So we'll go head to the other side and take that side out. All right, so we got both sides out. You just lift this up, and the front just clips in under these two little things right under there. So here's the shifter. So there's basically just that ball down in the bottom, and we're gonna take this clip off. And there's the mechanism here to get it in reverse. But yeah, looks like we're gonna have some cleaning to do and pull everything out, and then we're gonna assemble it on the bench. All right, there's 4 bolts that hold this shifter mechanism down. Take these out. Be careful not to drop the washers. All right, I had read that you didn't need to take the console out, but I could not get any of this up and out of here. So I've got the lower console. There's just 2 8mm on the back. I've got it pulled back. There's a little panel here that you pull, and there's an 8mm behind there. There's a Phillips there. And then this console here, there is 2 like 5mm hex bolts that go here and here. But to get to those, you have to pull the side panel off, which there's a couple hexes there. And then you have to pull the whole knee bolster out, which there's an 8mm there, and then there was like a Phillips up under the steering column. So not really that much work, but yeah, a little more than I thought it was gonna be. But this is up and out of the way, so I think we should be able to clear the shifter pulling it up and out now. All right, so I'm gonna try to hold this up out of the way. This piece came off. There was a bolt, 5mm Allen bolt that went through here, and that's what holds the actual shifter linkage to the shifter itself. All right, so the disassembly of this is pretty straightforward. The only thing, the instructions did tell you to do this, but there's some little tabs on here, there and there, that won't let this thing slide on. So I just got my Dremel tool, and this is moving up and down freely on here now. But yeah, if the instructions tell you there's a little rubber O-ring that will go on here, and then it's just basically putting the new parts in reversal of how you took them out of there. So I'll show you the completed shifter here. All right, so here's the reassembled shifter. It's got these like clamshell pieces down on the bottom. I just loaded those up with grease, greased the plunger shaft really good there. Here's the actual like short throw part of this. So it's got a Allen there, so you can adjust it, you know, top or bottom for, I think up should be the most short throw, just because it reduces the angle there. But then this bushing here is what actually bolts up to the stock shifter linkage that goes with the transmission. And then you just put it where you want it, clamp it down, and stick it back in. Make sure that's on the right. That's like the reverse detent lockout. And we've got the spring in there. We've got the like white washer nylon piece there, and then the snap ring, and then we'll just stab it back in there. All right, we're going back together with everything. There's this top plate here, which you kind of got to finagle in there, and then this bottom plate. There's 4 10mm nuts, but then you got to be careful. There's a this piece here you can kind of see on the back. That's got to be facing up before you stick it back in there, and then there's some nuts there, and those are going to be, these bolts come through this side and bolt into that. And yep, here's the short throw piece that I mentioned again. This goes on there, and then it's going to bolt up to this piece here, and that's your actual shifter rod. So just make sure you get everything back together in the correct order and snug everything down. There's a retaining ring that the instructions said you could leave out. You have to kind of pry this off, but it sits on top of this rubber donut, and I couldn't get it compressed back down far enough, so I'm just going to leave it off. And I think this bottom bracket should hold everything in there so that rubber donut won't come back out again. All right, so we got everything back in here, and just to repeat again, this here, you tighten this bolt, and that's what gives you the shorter throw, and this is about as much as I could get out of it, which the overall feel of this feels a lot better than the stock shifter, but I could not put it to the top. And in the 034 Motorsports instructions, they want you to cut, I think it's this gold bracket, the top of that out there, and I chose not to do that. But if you raise this up to the full height, let's see if I can show you here, that lever, or the actual rod for the shift linkage, when you're putting it in like first and third, it'll hit that. But even at that, there's like a tunnel in there with like a red rubber gasket. It's like really hard to see, but anyway, it actually hits the top of that too, and I think I would have had to stick like a pry bar in there and like pried that upward. So this rod right there, let's see if I can get it right here, you can see it as I move it, it would contact the top of the shifter there, so, or the shift tunnel, I'm not sure what exactly to call it. But anyway, hope that helps somebody install this. Like I said, that's kind of optional to cut that gold piece out of there. I just chose to leave it in there, just it seems like it'd keep it a little more rigid and all that. So yeah, I'm gonna put it back together and go take it for a test drive and see how it shifts. All right, we've got everything back together, and I can tell already this thing is night and day difference as far as the shift feel. It's just really solid. Test the reverse lockout. That's working. It's a little stiff. I used some really stiff, thick, tacky grease on that, which that might be a little problem when it's cold out. But yeah, I'm happy with it. It would have been nice to have a little bit of shorter throw on it, but it's definitely shorter than it was. And I think we're going to call this good. Thanks for watching.